Hey Cancers, it's your girl Belladonna Krishana here with your mid-month reading. First of all, I want to start off by saying thank you so much for all the likes and comments and subscriptions. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and let's keep this going. I also wanted to let you know that I do accept readings in case you guys want to hit me up. My email address is in the description box below. Also, um, if you guys wanted to donate, then my PayPal information is below as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much again. So I've been meditating on your guys' energy, and every time I do these videos, my eye itches for some reason. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, I I was meditating on your guys' energy, and what came up for me was that freedom is not about playing by the rules. So what does that mean? So in in terms of of even like love relationships, or in terms of a career, things like that, the most powerful people that you know or that you see, that you talk to, aren't necessarily the people who are the ones who are playing by the rules. It's people under them that play by the rules. It's the people that are running things that kind of do things the way they want to. They do it in their own authentic manner, you know? And so, freedom or power doesn't really come from playing by the rules most of the time. I mean, yeah, just most of the time. It just doesn't come that way. By the way, I have my beanie on because I'm in the middle of like braiding my hair, and and I'm not done yet. So this is like the I'm not done with my hair sort of look right now. Anyway, it'll be nice when it's done though. So I'm gonna go ahead and start shuffling cards, and we're going to see what comes up. They're a little bit hard to shuffle at this moment, but we're gonna see what comes up. Okay, give it like one more shuffle, and then we'll go ahead and get some cards out. Okay, let's see, one more card and we are good to go. Two came out. We're gonna just shuffle again and try to get, there we go. That was the card. Okay, so we have the Fool, right? So this is the card of new beginnings. You can kind of see that everything is sort of in this womb, if you will, right? So the Fool in this particular card is in sort of this womb of creation, this birthing place, And in this birthing place, it's really important to figure out, how are we gonna do this now? How are we gonna do this in the next phase of where we are? And there's been a lot of information gathered. We have the Chariot here, so you're moving on, from where you were. So it could be that you're moving on from even just a mental place of how you previously did things. You could also be moving on in a relationship. This could also be, considered moving, just literally moving from one place to the next. So, but this is about how are you going to structure this new phase? How are you going to structure um, your new ideals, etc.? Like I said, if you want to come from a place of power, power and freedom doesn't come from following any particular set rules. It comes from following your own authentic self and your own authentic expression. We have the Five of Swords here. And in this particular card, there's like, you have this sort of what I feel like is like a death figure in the background. So it's like leaving something behind, something that's dead. And then, this is sort of creating a bit of a memorial for it here, you know? but creating a memorial for it, but also being able to move past that energy and realize like the way the things were done before just no longer work. My Venus is in Cancer actually, which is like the way you communicate in love and relationships. And I've definitely noticed in the last month, especially with the new moon, there's been a lot of new perspectives as to how I approach relationships and how I communicate with people in terms of relationships, in terms of not just like relationships with like lovers and things like that, but like relationships with my mom or my parents, relationships with, my friends and things like that. But this has definitely been a place where you've had to move on from something where you had certain set ideals of how things worked and those just didn't work before. So now it's time to come into a place of, moving within your own authentic expression. So I'm going to go ahead and pull some more cards from my other deck, and we're going to see, what's coming up. What do we have to look forward to? Mercury retrograde's coming up right now, so it's going to be a lot of, where's my other cards? I like just lost my other cards. It's going to be a lot of, introspection. This isn't going to really be the time where new beginnings are starting, but it's at the womb stage. So it's not necessarily at the stage where anything's going to blossom to full fruition yet. It's going to take some time, and in that time that it's taking for these things to develop within your life, it's going to be really important that you realize that you have your own groove of how you do things. And the groove of how you do things can't necessarily be up to everybody's uh, ideals and standards. You know, this doesn't mean that you do things in a way that is, I'm trying to think of the word right now. It doesn't mean that you do things in a way which betrays others or somehow goes away from the foundation of who you are, but it definitely means that you move forward in a way where you're not so scared of other people's opinions about where you end up. Okay, so let's draw like 6 cards, and then let's see. This is gonna be so dope when it's done. I'm gonna do I think I'm gonna cut it into like a A-line bob. It'll be like a, indigo little bob thing. That'd be cool. Anyway. All right. So here we go. We have the Four of Swords in reverse, which indicates to me that right now would be the perfect time for you guys to actually, like I said, just figure it out. Figure out what your authentic voice looks like. Think about where you want to be in relation to where you have been and where you want to go. you know and this is saying that that's perhaps not happening right now, because once things begin or once things end, a lot of times we find ourselves sort of floundering in the process, and this is about really staying solid within your own self, the self. And I mean it in the self in a very kind of Jungian idea, right? So the self being that individualized part of you, the part that cannot be divided from you. So we have the Five of Cups in reverse, you know? So this is also talking about perhaps you were in situations where you felt like people were taking you for granted, but at the same time, like, you allowed yourself to be taken for granted instead of just seeing something and being able to move away from it. Perhaps you stayed in something just a little bit longer than you should have. And so this is basically saying, like, it's now up to you to not actually have those energies follow you into your next phase. We have the Temperance card that comes up. So this is the card of patience. So be very patient with yourself and patient with your process. And I've said this like a million times right now, to not just to like individual people that I was talking to, but you really do have to fall in love with the process of where you are going to go. You have to temper the desire either way to be too overbearing about where you want to go, and then, to be too lax and too stagnant in the process. You have to fall in love with the process of actually getting there. We have the Fool in reverse. And so the Fool in reverse in this particular situation, so as we're kind of reading like where you're going to go, this is about, really kind of being discerning and being careful about, about where you're moving to, and make sure that, again, that you're moving with your own authentic expression, and you're not moving just because someone's telling you need to move. Um, we have the Queen of Rods here, so this could indicate you, or and you kind of being the master of your own fate. But this could also mean that you have very supportive energies around you. You have very supportive energies around you in where you want to go, and when you feel like you need them, make sure you seek them out. We have the Ace of Cups, which is really good. So the Ace of Cups comes up, and the Ace of Cups is basically saying, like, not only is there going to be, so we already talked about, the Fool and there being a new beginning in that way, but this new beginning with the Ace of Cups says this is the seed of emotional fulfillment. So the seed of emotional fulfillment could mean that, you know, once you work all of these energies out, you might find yourself in your ideal or dream job. Once you figure this out, you might find yourself in an ideal relationship, the relationship that you've been waiting for a while, or that, once you figure this out, that the relationship you're currently in will change into something that is more authentic to you, or that you find people falling more in love with your own authentic expression versus in the past where you felt like maybe you had to change yourself for others. Um, this could also indicate, if you're moving to a new place, that this would be the place that you want to stay, and you want to actually be able to. And I think there was another sign that also had a very similar energy. I think it was Virgo, but it was basically saying like, yeah, so you're actually going to be entering a place now too, where you end up is going to be a place where you can actually build a home, versus maybe in a past being in sort of temporary or roommate situations. You really are moving through in a really, really great time right now. This is actually a really amazing time for you if you just do the work. And so that's the most important part of this message, is make sure you do the work and understand that, like I said, freedom doesn't necessarily mean that you're playing by everybody else's rules. Okay? So, anyway, I hope this was helpful, and I will be back April 15th, around April 15th or so, for your mid-month reading for April. So, have a really great time. Like, share, subscribe, and keep in touch. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.